Deborah with Preservation Publications and Preservation 2012 on YouTube. After I realized that I was going to have to put in a much larger, much more substantial garden to try and get my family through tough times that are heading our way, I realized I also was going to have to find a way to store the food once it was harvested. The four options available to any of us are freezing, dehydration, canning, and storing the excess in root cellars. I personally have chosen not to freeze any food just because of the extreme possibility that we lose electricity. Lose electricity, lose your frozen food, you're in trouble. I've also opted not to can my harvest because it requires a constant purchase of new lids for your jars every year. They cannot be reused over and over and over. That left me with food dehydrating and root cellars, both of which I use. I've opted for a dehydrator that's cubed, it's about that big, with the airflow pushed from the back to the front. I avoid the round food dehydrators that pushes air from the bottom to the top. They're not nearly as efficient. The reason I opted for this, however, is that as long as I have electricity, I can utilize this piece of equipment very easily and effectively. When the electricity goes, however, all I got to do is move the screens outside and into the sunshine. We have been dehydrating foods since man has been gathering it. So it's not going to stop because my machine doesn't have power. And then the fourth option, of course, is storing food in the root cellar. If you don't have a root cellar, you can convert a portion of your basement to be utilized for this. It'll work beautifully because they tend to stay very cool. A pan of water on the floor tends to keep the humidity up. So make sure the water stays in there and keeps the humidity up. And you can pretty much keep it free from rodents. And if you don't have a basement, dig a hole in the coolest part of your backyard and build one. They're not that difficult. You can get instructions online. And store your excess there. So these are the methods that I've chosen to use to store the harvest from my garden. You have to make your own choice on what works best for you. Whatever you decide, make sure that you have the equipment, the knowledge, the books, whatever you're going to need to make it happen before you need them. Until next time, for our families, for our neighbors, for our friends and our communities, preservation.